Alright guys, so this video caught my attention from, I think it's Kidology. I hope I'm saying that right. I feel like it's not hard to pronounce, but I'm silly. Anyway, it's about pooping. And I'm very immature, so I was like, I want to see what this is about. It's called How Our Pooping and Farting Taboos Are Affecting Our Quality of Life. I'm assuming it's going to be the stuff like how you're not allowed to fart in public. Which, by the way, it is kind of an issue. Yesterday, I went to the mall with my wife, and I just refused to fart. And then I did. And we were in like a, there's a Target connected to the mall we went to. We're in the aisle, and I farted. I'm like, we gotta go, because somebody was walking down and it smelled. My wife just stood there. She's like, why? So, she's something else. Let's go.
Is sponsored by Ren. We had never taken a shower together. We had never been in the same bathroom together. Don't flush, I'd said. I want to look. What I saw brought out strains of compassion for him, for his body, for his life, which suddenly seemed so frail and vulnerable. Our bodies won't have secrets now, I said, as I took my turn and sat down. He hopped into the bathtub and was just about to turn on the shower. I want you to see mine, I said. He did more. He stepped out, kissed me on the mouth, and, pressing and massaging my tummy with the flat of his palm, watched the whole thing happen. Now I'm sure you've...
What the fuck? What was that? Was that a poem about pooping? Okay.
all heard of this absolutely phenomenal film, mainly for the infamous peach scene. But if you haven't read the book which inspired the film, then you probably don't know of this little snippet that I just read. I was interested when I watched the film because it cut out and didn't feature this scene. What this scene is, well, a pooping scene. And what was intriguing to me was how the peach scene became infamous, a meme basically online, whereas the book features a scene far more, I would say, memeable and significant. What the scene describes is basically our two protagonists, Elio and Oliver.
It sounds like it describes two dudes. One of them took a dump and the other one wanted to look, and they tried to make it poetic, but it's not poetic to look at your partner's poop. It's just weird. I feel like this isn't one of those taboos that's so bad. Like, I mean, like, listen, I'll look at my wife's poop sometimes just because it makes her upset. It makes her upset. It's funny. But what the hell?
Pooping together, as well as looking at each other's respective excrements. And Oliver...
That's disgusting. My wife used to sit in the toilet while I pooped, though. She used to be, like, obsessed with me. She would just sit there on the floor while I took a shit because she didn't want to be away from me. Weirdo, you know? Now she doesn't do it anymore, so I think that she doesn't love me anymore. So now we're kind of just dealing with that problem.
Ultimately assisting Elio in his bowel movement. And when I describe it, it of course sounds quite humorous and rather peculiar, if not revolting. But revolting, in what I just read, it was actually incredibly moving and beautiful, especially the...
I guess they're moving a bowel.
description of compassion for him, for his body, for his life, which suddenly seemed so frail and vulnerable. And isn't that beautiful?
No,
I could not imagine a situation in my life where a significant other were to look into the toilet bowl, observe my feces, and feel such compassion and love for me. That
is that a gay thing? I don't understand why this is so poetic. Poop. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Is, I think, the ultimate expression of love. And it made me think, why? Okay. Why is it that this is seen not only as taboo, disgusting for
because it is. You're looking at someone's shit,
but also as something that we would never associate with the person that we love, especially in the most romantic moments when we are all so intent on presenting ourselves as the perfect embodiment of a superhuman. So yes, today in this unscripted video, we are going to be talking about poop and the human relationship to poop, and why I think it is so important that we destigmatize it and actually speak about it, not insofar as we do, which is primarily in the likes of poop jokes, but actually talk about it with each other and with our partners as an everyday life occurrence and thing. As simple and matter of fact as that which leads to it: eating, drinking, smoking a cigarette, drinking an espresso or coffee. However, just before we get into that, I need to give a huge thank you to today's video sponsor, Ren. The state of the climate is on everybody's mind, especially when it comes to feeling powerless and as if you have no meaningful impact on your everyday life. According to a survey by the American Psychological Association, more than 2/3 of Americans experience some form of climate anxiety. And a big reason for this is not knowing what to do. And that is where, uniquely...
I do have a lot of climate anxiety, but I'm also just not very athletic. So climbing doesn't really do too much for me. Okay, well, interesting sponsor. Check it out.
And so, with that in mind, let's get back to the video.
It's happening. It's happening.
Oh, it's pooping. Pooping is so funny.
It happened.
Now, I had to really think about literary references to defecation because it was quite difficult to note any that were as matter of fact as this. All references either feed into a taboo or into ideas of hierarchy and caste. And I think we can thank the Greeks for that. Thanks to the legacy of Aristotle, comedy is considered the lowest form of entertainment for the lowest and dimmest of human beings. And the Greeks were known for their...
I feel like nowadays comedy is kind of revered as like a higher class thing. Like if you look at it, I think that the best political pundits are comedians. That's because I'm biased and I like Jon Stewart a lot. But I really do think that like the best political pundits are comedians, and I think that like our society kind of reflects that. I mean, people like, you know, respect people like George Carlin a lot, and he's, you know, I don't know if he knows, he was a comedian. But people respect people like George Carlin a lot. And I think that, like, you know, Dave Chappelle is another one. I think that like nowadays comedy is considered like probably one of the greatest things, one of the highest forms of entertainment more than anything else.
Toilet humor. Needing to pee or poop is often seen as a way to either ridicule a character, to add to the plot insofar as something going dramatically wrong, or to simply make a joke.
Listen,
I can remember.
Listen. Sometimes you're in the middle of Disney and you got to go potty. It's a big deal, okay? It's scary. It's a scary concept, but it's real. I'm just saying, like, it is part of like it could be part of a very distressing experience. Like, who wants to go poop in public? Especially since, like, dude, every time I want to go, like, pooping in public, the worst part about it is that the toilets are always so dirty. They do such a bad job cleaning their toilets. Like, why would I want to go to the bathroom? Not only, like, I guess a bigger issue is that people won't poop in like in schools, because like if you start pooping, then you're a loser nerd. They're like, "Ew, you're pooping," and it's like, yeah, dude, I got to shit, bro. But you know, I never shit in there. I wasn't brave enough. But poop was also funny.
We're watching a film called Along Came Polly, and when I googled it and looked at the plot summary on Wikipedia, it was very interesting. The film is about Ruben and Polly, played by Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston, respectively. Yeah. Ruben and Polly begin dating. She introduces him to activities he once wrote off as too risky. This includes eating at a Moroccan restaurant, which ends badly due to Ruben's irritable bowel syndrome. Luckily, Polly gives him a second chance, where they end up salsa dancing, and later enthusiastically having sex, with Ruben shouting 50 at the climax. Now, I found this fascinating, not just because an individual's irritable bowel syndrome was a point of comedy, but because it ultimately led to them breaking up in a way, or at least not dating anymore, and then her giving him a second chance. And I think this also just points to something else which I've noticed, that pooing is actually so socially taboo that individuals will actually run out of public toilets and their office toilets without flushing. And this has led to numerous...
What? I've never heard of that. It's certainly taboo, but I don't think that's happening. I don't think anybody's like leaving without flushing, because everybody's going to know you pooed. Like, I understand that the flushing sound will make it know, you know, but like the worst part about it is like if you don't flush, then people be like, oh, ew, what's that smell? Even worse. You know, if anything, I'd say like my wife carries around poopery because she doesn't want it to smell after she goes to the bathroom. So yes, yesterday when she had to go to the bathroom, she forgot to bring it. So we had to like go to Target to buy it so that she could shit in the Target toilet. So that was like, oh, that was kind of funny. But okay.
Articles which I found about why individuals within the modern office place are willing to, as I call it, splash and dash. Some of these articles have suggested that individuals are so ashamed that they actually publicly defecated that they just want to ignore that reality and just leave without even washing their hands or anything. Others have actually suggested that individuals just...
I feel like that's not true. Nothing says you you took a shit in the toilet, like smelly fart poop hands. There's no way people are not flushing, and there's no way that people aren't fucking washing their hands, especially women, because like when you go into a bathroom as a woman, you're sitting down and you're putting something in the toilet regardless. So if you're going down and like you flush, then they're not going to, maybe they won't know if you pooped or peed. I don't think that this is happening. Who studied this? What is this, like a fucking, it had to be like a fucking, like some kind of a fetishist thing. There's no way.
They don't want to think about it, and therefore they forget about the basic flushing of a toilet. And I think this suggests a very interesting relationship that we have to our own bodies and our own repulsion to it, if what these articles suggest, namely that people are so embarrassed and disgusted by any public display of their bodily functions, is true. Evolutionarily speaking, we associate feces with infection and disease, and this seems to have carried on through time, especially culturally. And this doesn't just have something to do with our modern societies, but also just with cultures globally. And this is to the extent that defecation and feces actually have symbolic meaning when it comes to social hierarchy. In the West, we see this even today. I was thinking when I went to London this weekend and I used the public restroom at King's Cross, platform 9 3/4. And it was interesting when I went into the bathroom, because I have been thinking about this a little bit on and off, but I just thought about this because I realized when I was at King's Cross that I had a bowel movement. And I thought to myself, should I hold it or should I just go? And I went. I'm going to be, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, listen, my mother would go anywhere because she had Crohn's disease, or she had, not Crohn's disease, she had I think it was Crohn's. It's weird that I don't remember. I'm a bad son. Anyway, listen, man, I try to hold it. I don't want to go poop in the toilet. I think a lot of it is just gross. I don't put my balls down the fucking, like, my balls, like, will drop into the water sometimes. I'm old. I have old man balls. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's just too uncomfortable to me to go and shit. That's just fucking weird to me, bro. That's just fucking weird to me.
I'm going to be open in this video because, you know, what's the point in saying that we need to destigmatize these things when I can't even articulate it myself? So here we go. All guns blazing. I'm going to be the butt of somebody's joke for sure. But I went to the bathroom, did my business, everything was fine, everything was sound, washed my hands, was doing a bit of touch up with a bit of powdering my nose, as they call it. Okay. And
yeah, she was doing coke. I know what you're talking about. I feel the same, sister. Same.
Somebody who cleans the bathroom came in, housekeeping came into the bathroom, and it just made me think that even in modern Britain, individuals who clean toilets, who clean our bathrooms, are considered, at least socially and socioeconomically speaking, to be the lowest insofar as we consider the value of their work. Maybe. Garbage collectors, housekeepers, the idea of cleaning up human waste and
maybe that's like a whatever England thing, because in America garbage men make like a lot of money, so they're pretty well respected. I think, at least. I don't know, like they make decent money, but I guess at least around me. But you know, I don't know. I'm also a middle class guy. I don't look down on any of these people. So whatever.
Dirt. And I think what is interesting in this is that there is a distinction between, on the one hand, legally protecting individuals who do such work, but that isn't aligned as readily and as consistently to our cultural perceptions of those individuals and their work. The law gives dignity to their work and to the people doing that work, but culturally we are still very behind. And I think more so than modern Britain, for instance, modern India is also...
Is that a thing that I feel? I don't know. I don't look down on people that clean toilets or something. I mean, I guess I kind of did that a little bit. I mean, I was a bus washer, so I cleaned shit, piss, vomit, and blood off of buses. So maybe that's why I didn't look down on it. I don't know. I feel like is that a real thing? Bin men? They're paid okay in the UK. They're called bin men. Well, that's why you're getting made fun of. That's the cringiest title I've ever heard in my life. What, bin men? What the fuck? What is that? Okay, it's like Diet X-Men or something.
So a good example when it comes to so-called manual scavengers. The Dalit caste overwhelmingly make up India's manual scavengers. And they are basically responsible for the...
What the fuck is a manual scavenger?
The Dalit...
Oh, okay, this is a caste system thing. Okay.
Caste overwhelmingly make up India's manual scavengers. And they are basically responsible for the removal by hand of human waste from homes, from public facilities, from the streets, as well as the cleaning of sewers and septic tanks.
That's
and
horrible.
This persists to this day in some parts of India, even though the practice has been legally outlawed. And what is most worrying...
You know what I think, though? I think that the lowest caste system person in India should be the people who keep calling my fucking house and trying to sell me insurance. Because, like, goddamn, I know they're from India, you know? That's fine. It's just like, stop calling me, bro. Jesus Christ. It's fucking insufferable.
About this is that not only does it represent what I said, that distinction between the law and culture and the strength, the personal and just societal strength of cultural norms and expectations, but also how this can actually be life-threatening work. Manual scavengers are at risk of death from asphyxiation due to poisonous gases and are often exposed to diseases such as cholera, hepatitis, meningitis, jaundice, skin disorders.
There's some people who probably would like to dive into a toilet. You know, there's some people with some weird fetishes, bro. You know, that's why I'm selling my toilet, my dumps for $50 for an hour to swim in my septic tank, guys. Not a bad deal.
And even cardiovascular diseases. They often lack access to proper safety gear and equipment. And this is actually reinforced by a caste-based practice.
What's the proper safety gear for diving into dump? like diving into poops. Like, what is that? Like, I think that the proper equipment is to not do it, right? This is my opinion, but who am I?
Forced by a very lengthy caste history in India. And so I found this very heartbreaking to read, especially about the annual deaths which continue to this day. And I think this relates indirectly to the health implications of this taboo surrounding poo.
Taboo poo.
I'm gonna take a shit.
Man, he ended up dying too.
In the UK, the second biggest cancer killer is bowel cancer. However, alongside this, I was intrigued to read the following 3 facts. 1 in 4 adults are too embarrassed to seek medical help or assistance for a gut or bowel issue. 45% of adults cannot identify a healthy stool sample. That is...
It's different every day. I ate really bad cheese the other day, and I was horrible stomach. I'm pretty sure I ate like bacteria and stuff. It was old. Oh, I have Colby Jack cheese. Anyway. I should stop eating so much cheese. Anyway, my shit was black. And I got scared because, like, apparently when your shit's black, that means there's an internal bleeding. I don't think I actually had internal bleeding. I think it was just that I ate such bad cheese that, like, my stomach was horrible. I ate shit like 9 times. My stomach was like, I was farting all day. I messed up my sleep schedule, my streaming schedule. So I'm streaming so early now. It's terrible, man. I'm a victim. Shit fucked me up, though. Fuck.
Looking at the consistency of the stool, identifying color changes over time or healthy color, identifying whether it is floating or not, the density of a stool.
Dude, mine looks like, most of the time, my shit looks like a bowl of Cocoa Puffs. So, I don't know if that's healthy. You tell me, guys. You fucking tell me, you know? I don't know.
Etc. And most surprising to me was that 1 in 4 adults in the UK have not even looked at their stools. That is, when they go to the toilet and flush...
I always look at my stool. How the fuck do I know if I'm going to sit down correctly? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to fall on the floor. Silly. That'd be silly goosery to me, man. You got to look at your fucking stool before you sit down. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
They don't look at their stool. And gut problems, digestive problems are very common in human beings. And the fact that we can't even seek medical help due to embarrassment or shame is very sad. And this really surprised me because this isn't something that I think about a lot. Just because I'm young, I don't have many health issues. For instance, I'm really oversharing in this one, aren't I? I've only ever been constipated once as a child, and that lasted for 7 days. And
damn, that's crazy. See, I've been constipated before, but only on purpose. And now you're like, what does that mean? Okay. I sometimes, so I take a medication that makes me poop a little bit, you know, because I'm diabetic, whatever. So I get nervous when I go out with my wife sometimes that I'm going to have to go poopies. Oh, well, I just fucking lost. Okay. So I get nervous that I'm going to have to go poopies. So because of that, I will sometimes take an Imodium before I go out. And I know that's not the smartest thing. So one time I took an Imodium and I got I ate a lot that day, but I couldn't poop, so I ended up throwing up. So that's my story for today.
Still remember to this day the feeling of finally not being constipated and the absolute joy, but also the feeling that I had ripped my entire body apart in order to get the stool out.
Oh yeah, those are those sharp poops, bro. But a good poop feels so good, man. Like it's heavenly. It really is. It's just heavenly. I don't even know how else to describe it. It's fucking incredible. It's fucking incredible.
And I think we often think about these things just in personal, typical ways. But when it actually comes to considering this, especially with age, and thus inevitably a confrontation with illness and disease, I think it's important to actually look into these things, not as matter of fact shame or embarrassment, but to look at these things as potentially being warning signs. Because I think a lot of this feeds into this taboo, and also a lot of my own mental management of my own digestive system has very much to do with taboos, such as making sure that I've gone to the toilet before I go out, never going to the toilet whilst I was at school or in sixth form, feeling absolutely gutted that I couldn't afford to have an ensuite bedroom at university and having to share the toilets with others. But also on the plus side, never having my own bathroom and therefore always having to share with other people, and thus accepting the fact of my being. And this leads into the real meat and juice of this video. Men versus women when it comes to pooping and farting, especially in intimate relationships.
Let me tell you something. I know women usually don't poop or fart or whatever. Doesn't bother my wife. She fucking farts like an animal all the time. She doesn't give a fuck, dude. Because she's got, like, she farts a lot. I don't care. I don't mind it. Sometimes after she farts, I go, I'll do that to her and she gets embarrassed. Because, hey, like, why not take a sniff? You know what I mean? Take a whiff of that shit. I don't mind it. But yeah, my wife is the fart. I fart too. My wife farts so much more, bro. I don't fart as much because I can't trust it. Because one time two times actually in my adult life. I never did it when I was younger, but 2 times I shit my underwear, right? And what's so interesting is that one of the times I did it, this is an incredible story. So listen. I usually wasn't wearing underwear at that point. And I was just like, you know what? I want to wear underwear today. Went to fart. Mistrusted it. Shit my pants. But this is how I know that there's a God. Because he, for some reason, gave me the clairvoyance, to wear underwear, when I usually don't. And there's something really powerful about that. There's something incredible about the fact that God, he's like, wear your underwear today. And I was just like, wow. This is very powerful.
Move, bitch!
If you haven't read Jonathan Swift's The Lady's Dressing Room, I highly recommend. This satirical poem is fascinating, not just because it will make you laugh until your stomach hurts, but because it really speaks to something which I believe we still deal with to this very day when it comes to our perceptions of women and their beauty and beauty routine and perfection, but also when it comes to men and their expectations of women and fulfilling that ideal of being superhuman. And I think increasingly as beauty standards, which were exclusively the domain and concern of women and how they looked, are now being projected onto men and are really resulting in quite an identity crisis with men and their looks. These same expectations of perfection and being a superhuman when it comes to the human digestive system are going to apply to men. When I asked Google a question about pooping for...
That's why the Germans are really progressive, because I don't know if you guys know this, but it's a stereotype that Germans like scat porn. And it's like, that destigmatizes these things. So my mother is not predominantly German. I don't like that stuff. I don't care. Whatever. Like, don't judge me. I'm just woke. You guys aren't woke. You know what I'm saying?
For this video, I was gobsmacked, to say the least, when it came to what other people had asked. Because people also asked, why do girls go to the bathroom together? Can girls poop and pee at the same time? Do girls poop? Yes or no? Do girls poop different than guys? How often do girls poop? And I think Swift's poem
sounds like someone looking to watch girls poop. That's
this question and speaks to these questions quite perfectly. The poem is about Strephon, who sneaks into the dressing room of his beloved, Celia, whilst nobody is around, and rather than having his convictions of her perfection confirmed, he is confronted by a ghastly revelation and a realization which he cannot handle. Celia shits. Disgusting! And with that, Celia and all women, actually, have taken a massive shit on the painted illusion that women are beyond the bodily functions of the human body, with all its filth and disgust. What's
weird is that, like, why is there, like, this societal idea that, like, women can't poop, but they literally push out a fucking human turd out of their body? You know what I mean? That's pretty fucking crazy to me. They bleed and shit. It's nuts.
Satire basically suggests that women try vainly to trick men into buying into this ideal, and in that ultimately try to trick themselves into this ideal and illusion. And just as importantly, men themselves can't confront the reality that this is an illusion, that the illusion isn't real. The section of the poem which I enjoy the most is when Strephon discovers Celia's chamber pot. To stinking smoke it turns the flame, poisoning the flesh from whence it came, and up exhales a greasy stench, for which you curse the careless wench. So things which must not be expressed, when plumped into the reeking chest, send up an excremental smell to taint the pot.
See? Plop it on his chest. You heard it, dude. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, dude?
From whence they fell, the petticoats and gown perfume, which waft a stink round every room. Thus finishing his grand survey, disgusted, Strephon stole away, repeating in his amorous fits, "Oh, Celia, Celia, Celia shits."
Is this like actual fucking poetry? Like, what the fuck's happening right now? This is so bizarre. How long ago was that written? It sounded like it was written a long time ago. Is this like popular poetry? You're talking about Dookie? That's nuts, bro.
But vengeance, goddess never sleeping, soon punished Strephon for his peeping. His foul imagination links each dame he sees with all her stinks, and if unsavory odors fly, conceives a lady standing by. All woman his description fits, and both ideas jump like wits, but vicious fancy coupled fast, and still appears in contrast. And if this is how a man responds to the revelation that his beloved shits, it is no wonder that even to this day we come across newspaper headings such as these. Woman ends up in wheelchair after holding in farts around her boyfriend. Woman ended up in surgery after refusing to fart in front of her boyfriend.
Well, what happened? Did she fart so hard it ripped her asshole out after she banked it up? That's crazy. It's interesting though, because when my wife and I first started dating, like, she didn't fart around me initially, and then like what she would do is she would like, listen, I'm gonna be an adult, I'm gonna leave the room for a minute, I'm gonna go fart in the other room, and then she and then I would just be like, you can fart wherever, and then she started farting. Now she won't stop. I never should have told her she could fart. Now she won't stop farting. It's crazy. It's nuts. Okay.
Brazilian singer Posa was legit hospitalized after not farting in front of her boyfriend. 90 Day Fiancé star retires from selling farts after heart attack scare. In a Cosmopolitan article,
that one's a little different. Wait, hold on. Which one was that?
90 Day Fiancé star retires from selling farts after heart attack scare.
That one's different. That's a person selling farts. They're not like holding their farts in. That was somebody that was like monetizing their farts. They were eating foods to make more farts so that they would fart for money. They would fart into a jar. So that's like unhealthy if you're like intentionally eating foods to fart a lot, you know, because that's what she was doing. That's a little different from our fart taboo, I think. But maybe it all ties together because it's like a fart fetish taboo.
In a Cosmopolitan article, they asked their mainly woman viewers whether they would fart in front of their significant other. And these were the interesting results. The article is interestingly titled, "This is apparently the right time to start farting in front of your boyfriend." Whoa. As if there's a time when you can appropriately start farting in front of your boyfriend. 29% said,
well, I mean, listen, I think that when it comes down to it, like as a guy and a girl, you shouldn't instantly start fucking lobbing off chunks of shit in front of your fucking partner. Okay, you should wait a little bit. All right, like don't do it on the first date. You're probably not going to have a very good, you know, it's going to be that might create a little turbulence. Okay, so like, yeah, it's good to say. This is obviously held higher standard to women, but I'm just saying, like, don't instantly just start farting everywhere. Okay, unless I'm there for it.
2 to 6 months. 25.2% said 6 to 12 months. 22.4% said that they always leave the room no matter what. And 9.3% said that they won't fart for a full year into the relationship. And this is interesting because trapped farts is actually a medical condition, one which the Brazilian singer-songwriter Posa suffered from. Long story short, the 27-year-old singer was too shy to fart in front of her significant other. This led to her waking up one night with severe stomach pains. She, like many in this day and age, went to TikTok to seek out medical advice. TikTok.
Incredible. It's so weird though, because like my wife was like, "Oh, I heard this thing on TikTok that this thing happened. Some girl," and I was like, "Yeah, some fucking." And when I literally said it, I was like, "Okay, yes, yeah, so the fucking if a teenager on TikTok said it, it must be true." Why are you looking at TikToks, you fucking nerds? What the hell's the matter with you? You know, gotta go to a doctor.
Told her that there was no issue and that it wasn't a problem. The pain got more severe. She went to hospital, could hardly walk, and
severe rear pain.
Was diagnosed with trapped farts. On a now deleted Instagram post.
That's even more embarrassing. You're getting diagnosed with a disorder called trapped farts. Like, it's called the trapped farts. That's so funny. Holy fuck. Imagine you have to telling people that. You tell your boyfriend, "Yeah, I have this thing called trapped farts." That's fucking nuts.
She said the following to her followers: girls, don't be ashamed to fart in front of your guy, because what's really embarrassing is not letting your guy sleep because you're in discomfort, going to hospital with your guy, and the diagnosis being trapped farts. The influencer VTube ended up at a festival in Portugal with her boyfriend. She was too ashamed to fart or go to the bathroom in front of him, and at the airport when they were leaving, she was overcome by severe stomach pain and was actually put in a wheelchair for a period of time. After being attended to, it was established that she had trapped farts. And a few months ago, I believe the 90 Day Fiancé star Stephanie Matto went viral because she began selling her farts in a jar to followers. She reportedly made more than $50,000 a week by selling her farts in a jar. However, after she experienced gas pains so painful that she thought she was having a heart attack, she had to retire. Matto was rushed to hospital with chest pains she feared were symptoms of a heart attack. After undergoing a battery of tests, including blood work and an EKG, Matto was told that her pain was the result of her steady diet of gas-inducing beans and eggs. The self-proclaimed fart-entrepreneur had squeezed out up to 50 jars worth of farts a week to keep up with demand, and even added protein shakes to her diet to make them more pungent. And
isn't that crazy how fucking, like, let's be real here, okay? I love, it's crazy how disgusting men are. Because why do you think she's farting? For fucking dudes to buy farts. Men are fucking wild, bro. And I'm proud of it, by the way. I love men, okay? Not like that. Okay, I'm not gay. Well, not always, but like dudes are really out here buying up fucking farts. It's crazy. Buying up fucking fart powder, bro. It's nuts.
I think this does really speak to something based just on my purely anecdotal experience. There is a lot of shame in admitting as a woman that you are not perfect. And even with the example of Stephanie Matto, there is this kind of fetishization or fetishization around pooping, around farting, around our bodily functions.
Now, why do people buy my farts in a jar? I honestly think it's because I have a really good personality, and also because I'm hot.
I kind of
well, probably nobody cares about your personality. Just letting you know. But the fart buyers are not like, I really like this girl's personality. They think you're hot and they want to sniff your fucking farting asshole. That's literally all it comes down to. So.
Imagine that porn has just fed into this, sadly. And that with that there is kind of a disappointment, I guess, or a sense of letting down this ideal of womanhood when you do actually go to the bathroom in front of your significant other, when you do actually fart and it is deemed embarrassing by you or whoever is there. And we can most definitely see that in films. I watched a few weeks ago, Bones and All, and I was intrigued at the beginning in the opening sequence that the protagonist went to the bathroom and she was actually shown going to the bathroom, and I thought, oh my goodness, is this the first time that I'm actually going to see a woman taking a dump on screen? That's it being deemed just a matter of fact everyday occurrence, just adding to the ambiance of an indie film. No, she just peed. But it just made me think that I have never, in fact, stumbled upon the representation of a woman farting or relieving herself in any way aside from peeing in a film that is presented in a nonchalant, everyday occurrence sort of way. It's either fetishized or associated with horror in the likes of the human centipede, or is really just non-existent. Women don't go to the toilet. Women don't have bodily functions like anybody else. Their stomachs don't make weird, peculiar noises. And I wouldn't say that the opposite is the case for men. I think that there is just more of an openness to men being humans or being gross or what have you. With women, we are very much still steeped in the idea that we are like sex dolls. We may have an anus, but that is purely for something to go in, not for anything natural to come out.
Well, that's sodomy, okay? Don't do that.
Oh my gosh, that sounded far better in my head. But anyway.
Hey, that sounded fart better in my head.
I thought that that was just an interesting little discussion to have, because I know that this is taboo, that this is uncomfortable, that it is peculiar, that we try to ease the tension of such things through laughter, that women don't fart in public, that some of us who do fart in public do so only because we know that it doesn't stink, that it doesn't make a sound, and that we therefore keep up this illusion that we do not have anything going on down there. But just reading into this, I realized that there are some severe health implications to this illusion, and that we are not helping ourselves by just playing into it consistently, to the detriment of our health, our well-being, and also just our own mental sanity when it comes to really connecting with our bodies and also being able to appreciate the human condition in its entirety. Because I think the description of Ilio and Oliver was really beautiful and moving, even though it was about something that is deemed absolutely revolting. I think these nonchalant depictions of defecation are important. Well, I hope you got something out of this video. Thank you so very much for watching this video. Favorite. Thank you so much, as always, to my very generous patrons. You are helping to get me on the way to no longer having a shared toilet, but having my own. And I am...
Okay, well, interesting video about poop and farts. It was different.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.